and other pain points that you personally have or that even your friends have, just keep those things in mind. We'd love to cover those topics as well. But then, of course, Women of Character, I do one-on-one coaching, and then in the future, we'll be doing some group coaching as well. So we're excited about all of those things. So now I want to introduce my good friend and assistant, Valeria, and she's going to be doing our gold hoop giveaway. So she's going to say hi to you guys real quick.
I'm Valeria Jubas. I'm here with Women of Character as a marketing manager, the one behind the social media posts that you guys see every day. So yeah, we're so excited to host this webinar for you guys. We're so excited to host more webinars. We're excited to do our first one. We're going to cover what's a woman of character, what do we do, and what we can do for you, and all this great stuff. And then to the big ticket item, the gold hoop giveaway. We mentioned this on our Instagram a few weeks ago to build up the anticipation. So here we are. Let me share my screen and do the grand reveal. Finances with Jess. Steph Stevens. Is she here? I have no idea.
Is she here?
I have no idea. And if she doesn't, we have an alternate, which we can announce later, but we'll give her the webinar to show up and claim her prize.
That's perfect.
So here's our winner, Steph Stevens, Finances with Jess. Congratulations to your gold hoops. Let me stop sharing my screen. And then also, throughout this webinar, you can privately DM me, because we did mention on our post and on our flyer that we will be giving away a pair of gold hoops to everyone who's tuned in. Some nice gold hoops to get the confidence going, to get the character going.
Yes.
So who we are. So if you would like to partake in the free pair of hoops, you can hop on the chat and privately DM me so that we're not flooding the chat with everyone's addresses and doxing everyone. You could just privately message me so that I can have your address so we can ship that out to you.
Perfect. Thanks, Valeria. Yes, so send her, if you're comfortable with it, send her your address. We will mail you out gold hoops. We have a couple of symbols here at Women of Character. I love butterflies because they resemble transformation and change. So, of course, I love Cinderella. If you don't know me, I used to be a princess at Disney, and I love Cinderella so much, and especially the live action movie, because there's so many butterflies in the movie, if you remember, if you've seen it. And Walt Disney loved butterflies because they resemble transformation and change. And so that whole process of, being a caterpillar cocoon, spreading your wings and flying is a beautiful process that I talk about often. And we also have gold hoops because, I'm sorry, but you can do anything with a pair of gold hoops on. So it's just become this fun thing that I started posting about. And I have a lot of women who will send me a text or a message about, hey girls, having a rough morning, but I put on my gold hoops and I feel so much better. It's just that little reminder of let's take care of ourselves and we can do the hard thing. So if you will quickly just introduce yourself in the chat too, say hi, your name, something about yourself, whether that's a character trait, whether you're a mom, a stay-at-home mom, a businesswoman, business owner, just say hi to everybody. And while you're doing that, I'm going to read what a woman of character is. We've kind of defined this more recently. So a woman of character is present and at peace. She is aware of her blessings, her hardships, and where she wants to go. She sees challenge and approaches it with strength and courage. She shows up for herself, her friends, and family with grace and kindness. She cares for herself so she can care for and support her community. She is a leader and she isn't afraid to lead the people around her. She knows her worth and acknowledges the inherent value of everyone around her. She handles life with grace and dignity, not afraid of the future. She walks forward with hope, knowing she has the power to write her own story, her own fairy tale ending. She has power and she uses it to further the kingdom and her legacy. And we'll talk about this a little bit more as well, but what we're doing here is I personally, with so much noise in the world, I personally want to hear real stories of real women with real character, and that's what we aim to do here. I'm very excited. We just did a filming day this past weekend where I interviewed 2 women of character, And I can't wait for you all to see those videos. We're going to be doing long form videos on YouTube and then shorter clips on Instagram you'll get to see. But we just aim to inspire here. So thank you for being here. So I'm going to tell you a little bit more about my story. Thank you for listening. So I was a Disney princess. So I lived over in the Orlando area for a while. I married my Prince Charming. He was my first boyfriend that I ever really had. We met in college at my Christian college and, you know, fell in love. So I was living a fairy tale. I got married. My husband worked at our church. I worked at Disney World, something I had always wanted to do. Not only that, but I got to dance on the castle stage. I got to open new parades and shows. And, you know, I was living a beautiful life. I then, we decided to start having children. I did have a miscarriage, and that was very challenging. And then I got pregnant with my son, who is Max. He is in kindergarten. He's about to be 6 years old, and he's wild, little Prince Charming, truly. And we were trying for a second child when my husband came home from a work trip and told me a lot of things that I did not know were going on. And the next day I found out I was pregnant with my second child. So obviously that was very hard because I thought I was living, you know, a beautiful fairy tale. And then in an instant, you know, my life was completely changing, and I had a 15-month-old and I was pregnant with my second child. So kind of fast forward my whole pregnancy, not to give too much detail, I like to keep people's information private, that being my ex-husband. But my whole pregnancy with my daughter, I was back and forth, you know, we were working things out, you know, 5 counselors, you know, several different things that we endured. And then when my daughter was 5 weeks old, I filed for divorce. And actually at that point too, my son, we thought he was dying. He had some type of, we don't know if it was an allergic reaction. The CDC came in. We still don't really have answers. But we were over at the Arnold Palmer hospital overnight with him. He was on morphine. It was a terrible time. Awful. I still, looking back, truly, I'm like, for me, it was only God that got me through, and character, of course. And I oftentimes tell God, okay, I'm really done with character building exercises, Lord, but he like keeps putting me through them. So now I've learned to have gratitude for those. But to keep going here, over the next year, we, you know, it took us a long time to actually become divorced, quite challenging. So that's where I found myself living with my parents here in Ocala. I'm so happy to be here and be raising my kids here. But at the time, I was going through a divorce with a toddler and a newborn, living in my parents' house during a pandemic at the time. I didn't know if I had a job to go back to. At that point, I had left Disney, but I was still working at Universal. So I was on maternity leave, and I was supposed to return to work, I think, in 2 weeks, and the pandemic had started. So I did not know if I had a job to go back to. So again, I was going through a divorce with a toddler and a newborn, living in my parents' house during a pandemic. I didn't know if I had a job to go back to. So I got a job at a grocery store so I could show the court that I could provide for my children. And I was pumping in a utility closet, like, you know, breast milk during that time. And I tell you this because you can do hard things. And what I oftentimes, for those of you who also don't know, and I'll get to that in a second, oh, actually, I'll skip that. So let me go here. You can do hard things because everything's for a season and pain ends. But I finally became divorced, and I remember a wonderful friend of mine who's here, thank you, friend, invited me to take my son to karate. They were having, you know, a karate buddy day, and I was like, oh, that would be amazing. I'd love for my son to do this. I want my kids to do activities too. So I took my son to karate. And you know, they went over how much it was going to cost for my son to do karate. And I said, I can't afford that. I was living really tight, paycheck to paycheck. And of course, at the time I thought, you know, my life was over a little bit. It being so changed, I never thought I would be divorced. But I took my son to karate. I couldn't afford it. And I said, no, absolutely not. This is not how the story ends. So I remember in that moment, I asked myself, what do I know how to do? And I was sitting in my brother and sister-in-law's house, and I was like, what on earth am I going to do? My kids are so little. I didn't want to put them in daycare. I had hoped to be, you know, a semi-stay-at-home mom. I couldn't even afford that at the time. And I was like, what do I know how to do? And I said, be a princess. So I started a princess entertainment company. And by the grace of God, the 6 months following, I was able to double my income, pay off debt. I started a business, I bought a home, and so much more. I was able to be fully available to my children. Their dad wasn't as involved then. He still isn't. I have the kids 6 nights a week. And I've never had to put them in daycare this whole time, which has been a beautiful thing. And I tell you that because I rewrote my story. There were so many days during that whole process I did not want to live. I did not want to get up out of bed. God knew better than me. I didn't even want to be pregnant. I was so upset that I was like, God, why on earth am I pregnant right now? But I believe that my children saved my life through that season. And I tell you this because you can rewrite your story. And that's a couple things that we say here often too are get up, mama, and keep dreaming. So I would tell myself that the mornings I would wake up and didn't want to get up, I would tell myself, just get up, mama. Like truly just sitting up in bed and putting my feet on the ground. I've already accomplished so much by doing that. So that is how I got through get up, mama, and keep dreaming. So I started, that's my story. Thank you for listening. So I started the Women of Character page pretty organically. I knew I always wanted to write a book. I'm a performer, an expressive person by nature, and I wanted to express. And I realized just me posting a few things on Instagram, there's a need here, a great need. Women and the world, like they're bleeding and they all need help and support. And what can I do to help? What can I do? And so I kind of worked backwards in my head, you know, I'm not going to teach women how to open a business just yet, you know, and that's not for everyone. I thought, you know, I'm not going to teach women how to invest yet. You know, I was like, what do I know how to do? How did I get here? How was I able to change my story? How was I able to change my circumstances? And I realized at the core of it was character. It's like, oh, it was core characters, the perseverance, the courage, you know, virtues, bravery, you know, still having hope amidst all that. You know, I could have decided to let that really dark place consume me, and you know, in days and moments it would, and it did. But core character is so important. And it's actually so funny. I was recently working with a coach to be here with you to coach, and she said, you know, people aren't going to pay for character. And I said, watch me, because I know that people and women want more than just, you know, they want more. They need more. Their souls are craving more. So here we are, Women of Character. So I also know that we are all telling ourselves a story on a regular, consistent basis. So I'm a storyteller by trade and nature. I craft stories all the time for the characters that I portray, which is also why this is called Women of Character. It reflects, you know, that I'm a character performer, and that I truly believe core character can change so much of you if you focus more on that. But I'm a storyteller by nature. And I craft stories all the time for the performers or the characters that I portray. And we are always telling ourselves a story too. And I fully believe that that story we're telling ourselves significantly affects every single thing in our lives on a regular basis. And we have the power over that story. So today I was actually outside with the kids, and I was pulling some weeds, and I had some vines wrapped around my bushes. And a couple of them, I was like, oh my gosh, like these weeds have taken over these bushes. And I just was thinking, you know, in preparation for tonight and what we were going to be talking about, I was like, that is just like life. Sometimes our life can still look so full, like some of my flower bushes outside still looked full, excuse me, but when I got a little bit deeper, I could see that these vines, these weeds had like completely come in and like were eating at the root, right? They're smart. They know where to go. They know how to kill a plant. Just like things in the world and negative thoughts that can get into our own minds. You know, we can look full and we can look put together on the outside, but at the root, those thoughts that we're having can come in and just poison us and take us over more quickly than we'd ever think, which is not a good thing. So I've been talking a lot, but now I want to go into a core character exercise. So we do this when, like I train all my princesses this way. If you do have something to write on and write with, grab that. Give you a few minutes to do that. You can also just use your phone if that's easier for you as well. But this is how I train my princesses. So when you're building a character, so gosh, I'm like Valeria, I can even use you as an example. If I was training Valeria how to be Jasmine, you know, or if I was training her how to be any type of atmosphere character, we would ask, you know, what are the supporting roles in your story? What are some events and circumstances in your story? And what are some places, locations, and then goals? So we're going to go down. I'm going to have you make a few lists, and then we're going to craft a story or two here together. So if you will first write down one category, it's going to be called people and supporting roles. Valeria, will you type that in the chat?
Girl, you
do it. Perfect. Yeah, perfect. Yeah, so people and supporting roles. So, you know, anyone in your life, thank you, Valeria. You know, you can write your kids down if you're married, a boyfriend, other friends, boss. Who are some main characters in your story? If you're able, you can also give us like a thumbs up or like a smiley face when you kind of like made a list. Okay, supporting roles, other main characters. Of course, you are the main character in your story. We're going to take care of her. That's what we're here for. We're taking care of that main character in your story. Okay, we're going to jump to the next one. So the next one is going to be a little bit lengthy, Valeria, but events, circumstances, situations, different elements of our story. These can be both positive things and negative things. So for example, you know, if you are going through a divorce and any type of friction that you might be going through, if you're going through a job change, if you are caring for an older parent, caring for a sick child, yes, can be negative or positive. Positive, a good job change. If you are, you know, if you got promoted with the job, if you started a new business. So any events, circumstances, situations, or elements. Okay, I think we'll move on to the next one. Awesome. Okay, so the next section that you're going to write down are places and locations. So that can be your house, where you work, other places that you spend a lot of time. So essentially after this, we can hire everyone as a Disney princess. So fun. Cool. Okay. I think that list takes a little bit less time. How's everyone doing? Okay, cool. Perfect. We'll go to the last one. And this is a bonus round because we don't obviously do this for character work, but I want you to also make one last section that's labeled goals. So write down some goals. They can be work goals, family goals, financial goals. You know, I like those 5S. What are they? The 5S: faith, family, fitness, finance, and friends. They can be, you know, any goals that are fitting those categories. Micro goals. Wake up at 5 a.m., which I can never do. Awesome. Okay. So what we're going to do now, so typically, you know, I'll give you an example of a character. So if I were portraying a character, I would pick someone from my supporting role category, Prince Charming. I would pick an event from my story or an element, so maybe my glass slipper. And then I would pick a location from my story, which would be the ballroom. I'm not going to pick a goal. I guess hers maybe get hitched. I don't know. But I'm going to pick something from each of those categories, and then I would create a story in my mind. So my story would be, oh, just yesterday I was with the prince. We were dancing in the ballroom and I lost my glass slipper again. So essentially that's what we do in the performing world, but we are doing the same thing in real life. So oftentimes that story can, again, or it does always, directly reflect what's going on in our life currently. So what I want you to do now is take different items from those lists that you just made and create a story that you are going to now tell yourself on a consistent, regular basis that is going to get you to those goals. So I want you to craft a story using elements from all those lists that you made. That is going to help you get you to your goals. So tell us when you are, if anybody wants to share that new story or a story they've just crafted, let us know. You don't have to. That might be very personal for some people. But if anybody wants to raise their hand and share, they can do that. We'll see if we have any takers. Any courageous souls?
I can kick it off to get people encouraged.
Okay.
Okay. So, for people that I chose my mom and my dad.
Okay.
Event/situation that I chose is that I just recently graduated from UF, and right now I'm in a workcation out of the country, back to my home country, and still working and all that. So my place right now is, I guess, Caracas, Venezuela. And my goals is to be happy, financially stable, and get a full-time job / get a lot of clients. Because right now, Lindsay is one of my awesome people that I work for. And so the story that I drafted of that is, I have an amazing mom and dad who are very encouraging and have worked in the marketing field their whole lives. My mom's specifically doing graphic design, so I have them. I ask them for help. How can I need guidance? Like, I'm just 22. All the answers, and another great person is Lindsay, who's been so encouraging. She's also people. I'm gonna add her right into it. It just came out. But having all these amazing people on my shoulder, asking them for guidance, and I'm here. I'm in my home country. I get which checks off the goals of be happy. I'm so happy to return after 19 years. And I've been enjoying all this beauty while at the same time I have all these guiding characters around me while I'm enjoying being here and being happy in my home country. I'm also working for my goals, and my dad was helping me. Hey, I know a guy that works in this company. I can help you out. And my mom's, I have a bunch of friends that own small businesses too. I'm gonna ask them if they also need social media. And so I have all these guiding figures in my life and be like, I'm gonna reach out to this person and I'm gonna connect you with them. And I've had Lindsay connecting me with people, and I have Lindsay encouraging me and giving me the space to work and grow and to finally achieve this goal that I will reach. Getting all these clients and being financially stable and setting myself up after graduating from college. Huge milestone in my life. And that's my story.
Awesome. Right. That's fantastic. So again, instead of you and maybe the negative story that you could be telling yourself, that you maybe sometimes do tell yourself, Valeria, is I can't, I don't know enough, I'm too new at this. You know, oftentimes it seems like the default to go to that negative story, right? Because we can all get nervous. We lack confidence, we lack self-worth at times, but that's the whole point of this exercise, is not toxic positivity. We don't need that. Again, a woman of character acknowledges her hardships, but we want to craft a story, a new story in our minds. So hopefully the story that you've just written down from all the lists that you just made is a new story that you can replace with the old one.
The old story of looking at everyone's LinkedIn post and being like, dang, you know, you get that feeling, but I always try to turn it around and be like, it's okay. That's not my story. My story isn't jealousy looking at LinkedIn. My story is getting up and finding a way to get to my goals, which I've learned from being a woman of character.
Absolutely. That's fantastic. And truly that piece that you said of getting up, you know, got to keep getting up and you can dream again. So what is your story? Did anyone want to share their new story? I don't think anyone wanted to. Good job, Valeria. Perfect. Okay, so like I said, use this story to replace the old one. A wonderful phrase, of course, we have to tie in some princessy things here. A wonderful phrase that I like to say is, for you shall go to the ball. Because again, when you replace that negative story with the new one, you're opening so many doors and windows of opportunity for yourself. Because if the story that you're telling yourself on a regular, consistent basis is, I'm gross, I'm worthless, I have nothing to offer, I'm not capable, I'm not good enough, I'm behind. You know, I know for a lot of moms, it can be, I've been a mom for so long, I'm returning to the workplace, like, how can I do that? For myself, how? Because I'm a single mom of two, I have my kids all the time, how? So if that's, and you know, then I'm not enough, I'm not capable. If those are the stories that we're telling ourselves, you know, the rule of performing is that the story that you are telling your audience, you first have to believe yourself. So the same principle is true here. If we're telling ourselves, I'm worthless, I have nothing to offer. If we tell ourselves that, we're going to believe it. If we tell ourselves that enough, and then our audience, everyone around us will believe that as well. So we need to rewrite that inner story, and you have the power to do that. So thank you all for being here. We have our gold hoop giveaway. We'll message her, Valeria, and send those out to her. But thank you so much for being here. Again, we are planning to do more webinars and interview women of character, because again, the purpose here is to you know, hear real stories of real women with real character. And I hope that you'll join me on this journey of doing exactly that. And I help women in transformation, going through transformation, and helping them rewrite their inner story. You know, we can do one exercise here together of, you know, rewriting a story. You get what I'm trying to do and communicate and how that might be effective, but really changing that takes a lot of effort and a lot of work. So I work with women one-on-one to do exactly that. We work really closely together. I've created a 4-month program with a workbook and everything to really help women change that inner story, because I truly believe that your inner story and your core character is what can change the game for you pretty quickly. So if that is something that you're interested in, Valeria is going to drop an inquiry link for that. And if it's not you, we would also love for you to still fill this out. And if you feel like you would love to share your story of character and how you've been put through some character building situations and would like to be interviewed on our page for that, we would love to have you. I would love to talk with you. We've already got a long list of women that we're thrilled to be interviewing. So if you're interested in coaching or know somebody or just want to get more information to send it to a friend, please let me know. I know that when I was in the thick of it, I needed so much support. I mean, I had a counselor, I have a business coach, and I had my family, thank goodness. I had, plenty of friends, but I still needed more. So essentially that's also what I've created here with Women of Character, is a support system, because I knew what I needed back then. And that's what I hope to be for women now. And I've worked with a few clients, and it's been beautiful to give them that hope and support that they have needed. So if that is you, fill out the inquiry form. Valeria also dropped the Calendly link. If you want to go ahead, you can book a free strategy call with me, and we'll talk about getting you to your goals. And I'm so thankful that you all came tonight. If anybody has any questions, feel free to drop them. And of course, remember to tag that you were here tonight. And thank you so much. I think everyone already, shared what we're doing here. But thank you so much. And I'm excited to have you all on this journey of character.
Before everyone leaves, if you feel comfortable with it, we would love for you to turn your camera on and we can get a really nice selfie for the Women of Character page.
That would be so fun.
That would be so fun and awesome. So, oh, look at all these beautiful women.
Awesome. Hey.
Hey.
Cool. Tell us when, Valeria.
Oh, I got you. I'm trying to wait until I can get like the most cameras on.
Okay, perfect.
We got 5 girls, but if you guys don't feel comfortable, it is okay.
They might be doing bedtime.
Important stuff. Being a mom comes first.
Yes. Cool.
Okay. Okay, let's do this thing. Okay. Let me get one on my phone and then I'm gonna do a screenshot on the laptop. So I'm gonna do 2.
Okay.
Everyone cheese. Okay, and now we're doing part 2.
Okay, part 2. Thank you.
Everyone say cheese. Beautiful. Everyone looks so gorgeous.
Thank you.
You can.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much for coming, everyone. You can go ahead and log off or take off. Thank you so much for your support. If you do have questions or want to chat individually, Valeria and I will stay on and we will talk with you. So thank you so much, guys, for your support.